present the panel, and I think one of the panel persons is making a video documentation of this session. That's part of the project that is doing this. This is Exe Christoffersen, Thomas Rosendal, Annelise Kuhler, and Lise Eichel, and my name is Ida Krøholt. We're all from the sector of dramaturgy at Aarhus University. Researchers doing a study and analysis and evaluation of the project Kunsten, kanten, and we would like to discuss them with you, with the theatre.
Actually, what is the situation of the link between the theatre and the city? And how do they understand each other? How to characterize the notion of theatres in the city? And how to characterize the notion of this particular city? I mean, each city have maybe some selected narratives or images that appeal to you. Just in order to be very, concrete in terms of what we are talking about here. These are the titles of these festive weeks that has been. You can see the years after the titles. Of course, my argument goes that each of these titles hold a strong image in itself.
How do we evaluate the quality of participation? And in a more popular phrasing, what is good participation? Either we risk making one of the objects, for example the festive week of Holstebro, a model for the other, or we risk to exert some kind of tacit judgment based on some kind of tacit criteria. So how do we solve this? And one way of, if not solving, then avoiding the problem is to actually abandon the discussion about quality in favor of a discussion about genre. Also to shift the discussion from quality to a discussion about qualities. For example, what are the significant differences between values and strategies in one participatory production in comparison with another? And instead of constructing a scale valuing good and bad participation, we can create some kind of more or less inductive typology.
I'm interested in sort of the question of whether it works and how it works, and whether it can sustain what it works. What are the techniques, as Chris Kelty asked this morning, that can help you just sustain a certain style of participation or modulate it from one to the other? And so in that sense, it's never, for me, it's never the producer or the user, the individual that has to decide. It's basically, how does that feel that you're trying to construct sustain itself, and does it work? And that is very much always a singular analysis. It's always sort of, you always have to judge it on its own terms. And that actually raises for me the question, how important is it to compare them, actually? To compare, to have criteria for comparison that would be general.
I'm studying psychology, and tomorrow we'll talk about my analysis in empowerment and participatory art project. But for me, the problem is this line with what is good participation. I have a problem with this sentence, because when you speak about criteria, I think the criteria are okay, because you can put as many criteria as you want. You can define them, find them, create them, and then you can say, okay, this is more an aesthetic way, this is more in a social way or political.
If we look at culture policy, then we have in 1990 what I would call the last serious effort to promote culture and democracy in Denmark, which was the foundation of Kulturfonden.
Before the festival week, they make a kind of workshop for maybe 30 people coming from all over the world, and creating a group and make this festival visible. I think that any theatre working with festivals should have a kind of education. I don't say what kind. It could be a workshop. It could be for children. It could be for grown-up. It could be focused on music, focused on dance, music, whatever. But anyway, this could be a way of creating very concrete relation.
But we have just thought that the school or whatever it is, or the training of participants has been an integrated part of the festival.
It's a workshop before with a group of international participants in order to involve them in activities in the city. But that has, in fact, it has evolved out of our historical situation, just as every single theatre has to base their activities on their historical situation.
Odense has a long tradition for this, and it's very good that they share their history with us. But at the same time, it's very important that we adopt this in our way. And the other thing of the discussion is that how do art get in together with amateurs, which is a very, very big and very, very important discussion in these festivals. It's not enough anymore just to come out, and in Denmark it isn't, just to come out and say, would you buy my performance? I also have to come out and say, maybe I have a workshop, maybe I can tell about the subject of the performance and stuff like that. And suddenly we outreach into the schools, and we have to do a lot better commitment together with the schools. I have to be a clown. I'm the one giving the workshop, and the teacher is like behind and is not participating. And what I think is interesting, it's not that it's wrong or something else, but what I find interesting, and what I find interesting in the way of Odense have been doing it, and what I think I can learn something from, is that when I participate on the same level as the teacher who is maybe a history teacher, if we work together with his work and with my work, suddenly we can do something different. And then we discuss what is art. Actually, art is what we come with, and art is what we have to be very good at. And at the same time, we have to meet the schools, the other people from the city, or with respect, and see what do they do. But we have to give them our art, and then maybe we can find a relationship. And that comes back to the festivals, what Odense is doing and what we try to do in Nykøbing. The interesting thing about this is to meet with respect and then find out how can the art be something new, and how can the city get more of us? How can we be, they cannot, they don't want to leave us, they want to use us everywhere, because we are a very important part of the city. And that is what the institutions, as the theatres around, can be in the future.
As cultural producers, we need to work with other methods completely. I mean,
development with the audience in the years ahead, and also rethinking your audience in a way, and how can we canalize that to the other art institutions in Viborg, to see that it's not just the theatre who has to think new, and how can we do that together. So yeah, we saw it kind of like a laboratory into that, as the first stepping stone.
Evaluation in this sense would be very good, to have this discussion on maybe distinction between values. Not only one value, but different kind of values, not only the political.
Right? So where's the creative part of the research? How can I link into that, and how could, for instance, the university put up, what kind of festival could they put up? How could they link into becoming creators and maybe use that as a way of then having feedback into their own research? So maybe just, bringing creation and research closer together.
So